72% of employers state that one of the most important things they look for in a new hire is creative thinking. 97% of superintendents have noticed a link between music education and an increase in creative thinking among their students. And yet only 17% of them require music education for graduation. This means that superintendents and school boards have noticed a characteristic that can help their students succeed and are choosing not to encourage the growth of it. But the benefits of a fine arts education doesn't begin after graduation. It has been shown that students with 4 or more years of fine arts education through high school have increased their SAT scores by 100 points. They have a higher GPA and a lower dropout rate. In 1999, 100% of Title I schools, these are schools with a high percentage of students coming from a low-income household, offered some form of fine arts education. In 2012, that number dropped to 81%. These are students who need every opportunity they can get, and their opportunities were cut by 19% in just over 10 years. In December of 2015, Congress passed the Every Student Succeeds Act. This act will replace the No Child Left Behind. And it also includes new provisions and national standards for fine arts education in schools. With only 10.8% of elementary and secondary education funding coming from the federal level, schools are struggling to make ends meet. And when they're focused on meeting national standards and the requirements of standardized testings, the first thing to be cut is always the electives. The Performing Arts Alliance is trying to work with Congress to increase the funding necessary to implement the new changes that Every Student Succeeds Act requires within fine arts education. Because of the low funding coming from the federal level, your voice matters more at a local and federal level, or local and state level. But that doesn't mean that you can't be heard in Congress. The Performing Arts Alliance is urging Congress to set aside $30 million within the 2017 federal budget to help our schools implement these fine arts standards. If you go to www.theperformingartsalliance.org, you can read up on these new standards and educate yourself about the Every Student Succeeds Act and the needs that schools have for the fine arts education, the benefits that they provide our students. And you can also follow the Take Action Now link to send a letter to your congressmen and your state representatives to ensure that we are giving our students every opportunity that they deserve.